What happens when you stop apologizing for existing? Here's something nobody tells you. The world profits from your self-doubt. Every time you shrink yourself to fit in, every time you apologize for taking up space, every time you water down your truth to make others comfortable, you're feeding a system designed to keep you small. And small people are easy to control. Think about it. From day one, you've been trained. Trained to follow rules you never agreed to. Trained to value other people's comfort over your own truth. Trained to believe that being different is something you need to fix. But what if the thing they're calling your problem is actually your power? Your original programming, that raw, unedited version of you that existed before the world told you who to be. That's not a bug. That's the source code. And the beautiful thing about source code, it can't be hacked, manipulated, or replicated. It's uniquely yours. And that terrifies a system built on conformity. Research from MIT found that individuals who suppress their authentic self experience chronic cognitive load. Basically, your brain is running too many programs at once trying to maintain the fake version. You're literally burning mental energy just pretending to be someone else. And for what? Approval that evaporates the moment you stop performing? Here's the thing about authenticity. It's not comfortable. It doesn't make you popular. It doesn't guarantee you'll be liked. But it does guarantee something more valuable: you'll be real. And real is the only thing that actually satisfies. Everything else is junk food for the soul. You know that feeling when you're around certain people and you can finally breathe? That's what happens when you're in the presence of someone who stopped apologizing for their existence. They give you permission to do the same. Authenticity is contagious, but so is fakeness. And you've been infected long enough. The system wants you to believe you need to earn the right to be yourself. Like it's some privilege you unlock after you've proven you're worthy. That's the con. You don't need permission to exist as you are. You don't need credentials to have feelings. You don't need approval to take up space. Every single day you spend trying to be more acceptable, more digestible, more convenient. You're handing over your power to people who don't even know what to do with it. They just know they feel safer when you're smaller. So here's the real question. What would happen if you stopped editing yourself for an audience that doesn't even matter? Unapologetic. What part of yourself have you been hiding to keep the peace? Drop it below. And if this hit different, smash that like button and subscribe. How conformity became your default setting. Let's talk about the invisible cage. You didn't choose it. You didn't even notice when you walked into it. But somewhere between childhood and adulthood, you learned to trade authenticity for acceptance. And now, you're stuck in a life that looks good on paper, but feels hollow inside. The programming started early. Remember when you got excited about something and someone told you to calm down? When you cried and they said you were being dramatic? When you questioned authority and they called you difficult? Each one of those moments was a line of code being written into your system. Your natural state is wrong. Adjust accordingly. And you did adjust. You learned to read rooms before entering them. You learned to calculate how much of yourself was safe to show. You learned that survival meant camouflage. But here's what they didn't tell you: that survival mode would become your permanent setting. Stanford researchers tracked people over 20 years and found something disturbing. Those who consistently prioritized fitting in over being authentic reported significantly higher rates of depression and life dissatisfaction in their 40s and 50s. The bill always comes due. You can fake it for years, but eventually, the disconnect catches up. But let's be real about why this happens. Society doesn't actually want you to be yourself. It wants you to be predictable. Predictable people buy the right things, believe the right narratives, don't ask uncomfortable questions. Predictable people are easier to market to, easier to manage, easier to exploit. Your authenticity is a threat to that entire structure. Because when you stop performing, you stop consuming all the products designed to fix your manufactured insecurities. When you stop apologizing, you stop seeking validation from sources that profit from your self-doubt. When you embrace your original code, you become immune to their manipulation. And that's when people start getting uncomfortable. They'll call you selfish for setting boundaries. They'll call you difficult for speaking truth. They'll call you changed for simply becoming more yourself. And every single one of those reactions is about their discomfort with your freedom, not about anything you did wrong. Here's what nobody explains. When you stop dimming your light, you force others to confront their own darkness. Your authenticity becomes a mirror, and most people would rather attack the mirror than face what it's showing them. So they'll try to pull you back. They'll weaponize guilt, nostalgia, obligation. They'll remind you of who you used to be, the version that was easier for them to handle. But that version wasn't you. That was the costume you wore to keep everyone else comfortable. The question isn't whether people will accept the real you. The question is whether you're willing to disappoint people who fell in love with someone you were pretending to be. Unmasked. What would you do differently if no one was watching? Leave it in the comments. And hit that like if you're feeling this. Say, you could weaponize your authenticity. Here's where it gets interesting. Authenticity isn't just about feeling good or living your truth. It's about becoming untouchable. When you stop needing external validation, you exit a game that was rigged against you from the start. And the people who are winning that game, they lose their leverage over you. Think about the power dynamics in your life. Your boss, your relationships, social media, consumer culture, they all operate on one assumption: that you need something from them. Approval, security, belonging, status. But the moment you stop needing those things, the entire equation shifts. You're no longer negotiating from a position of scarcity. A study from the University of Pennsylvania examined high performers across industries and found a pattern. Those who operated from authentic motivation outperformed those driven by external rewards by nearly 40%. Why? Because authentic drive doesn't burn out. It doesn't need constant refueling from likes, promotions, or praise. It's self-sustaining. But here's what they don't tell you about that transition. It's going to cost you. You're going to lose relationships built on your compliance. You're going to lose opportunities that required you to be someone else. You're going to lose the comfort of being liked by everyone. And that's not a bug, that's the feature. Because what you lose in breadth, you gain in depth. The connections that survive your authenticity, those are the ones worth keeping. The opportunities that align with who you actually are, those are the ones that fulfill you. The approval you stop chasing, you realize you never needed it in the first place. This is where most people get stuck. They taste freedom, then retreat back to the familiar cage because the unknown feels too risky. They'd rather have the predictable pain of inauthenticity than the uncertain path of being real. And I get it, fear is a hell of a drug. But consider this. You're already losing. Every day you spend performing is a day you're not living. Every conversation where you filter yourself is a moment of connection you'll never get back. Every dream you postpone because it doesn't fit the narrative others have for you, that's a piece of your life you're handing away. Authenticity is the ultimate act of rebellion in a world that demands conformity. It's you saying, without apology, that you're not for sale, that your energy, your time, your essence, those aren't commodities to be negotiated. They're non-negotiable truths. And when you operate from that place, something shifts. You stop attracting people who need you to be small. You start attracting people who celebrate your expansion. You stop pursuing opportunities that require you to compromise. You start creating opportunities that align with your truth. The system can't touch you anymore because you're no longer playing by its rules. You've rewritten the code. And once you do that, there's no going back to the outdated version. Touchable. What becomes possible when you stop shrinking for others? Comment below. If this resonates, drop a like and subscribe. How your raw truth breaks the algorithm. We've arrived at the core truth. Authenticity is the one thing that can't be manufactured, copied, or sold back to you. It's the only currency that holds value in a world drowning in fake everything. And that's exactly why the system works overtime to convince you it's not enough. Look around. Every advertisement, every influencer, every self-help guru is selling you the same lie. You're broken, and they have the fix. Buy this course. Follow this formula. Adopt this mindset. And if you just do exactly what they say, you'll finally be worthy. It's a scam, and you've been buying it for years. The truth is simpler and scarier. You were never broken. You were just convinced you were, so you'd keep consuming solutions to problems you don't have. Researchers at Yale found that authentic self-expression correlates with higher life satisfaction and stronger immune function. Your body literally knows when you're lying to yourself, and it responds accordingly. But here's the part that changes everything. The moment you stop apologizing for who you are, you reclaim energy you didn't even know you were bleeding. Energy that was going into maintaining masks, managing perceptions, calculating every move. That energy redirects, and suddenly, you have fuel for things that actually matter. You start building instead of performing, creating instead of curating, living instead of documenting. And the wild part, the right people notice, not because you're trying to be seen, but because authenticity has a frequency that cuts through all the noise. It's magnetic in a way performance never is. Now, I'm not saying this is easy. Choosing authenticity in a world addicted to pretense is an act of daily courage. You'll face pushback. You'll lose people who preferred the edited version. You'll question yourself 1,000 times. But here's what you gain: yourself. Whole, unfiltered, unapologetic. And that version of you? It's worth more than any approval, any status, any comfort. You're sacrificing to maintain a lie. Because at the end of your life, nobody's going to ask how many people liked you. They're going to ask if you actually lived, if you took risks, if you showed up as yourself. The system will keep trying to format you. That's its job. But your job? It's to remain unformatted, to protect your original code like it's the most valuable thing you own, because it is. It's the only thing that's truly yours. Everything else can be taken, lost, or stolen. But who you are at your core, that's permanent. So stop waiting for permission. Stop apologizing for existing loudly. Stop dimming yourself so others can shine. You're not here to be a background character in someone else's story. You're here to write your own. And the only way to do that is to show up exactly as you are. The world doesn't need another copy. It needs your original code. Raw, glitchy, imperfect, and completely irreplaceable. Original. What's the first step you're taking toward unfiltered authenticity? Drop it in the comments, hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Disclaimer: this content is designed for educational and reflective purposes regarding personal development. It does not replace professional mental health support when needed.